Have you noticed how some people are simply unforgettable, even when they barely say a word? It is as if there is a mysterious energy around them, a presence that speaks louder than 1,000 words. And the most curious, this has nothing to do with look or status. It has to do with silent attraction, emotional power, and unconscious seduction. When we talk about conquering or maintaining a woman's interest, most men think of beautiful words, well-elaborate messages, or grandiose attitudes. But the truth is that there is a kind of gesture, subtle, silent, almost imperceptible, that has a devastating effect on the feminine mind. A gesture that activates emotional regions of the brain that are directly linked to desire, curiosity, and obsession. You need to understand one thing: the female brain is highly sensitive to what is not said. Sometimes a simple look can have more impact than an entire text. A discreet smile at the right time can trigger a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. And the most powerful of all, their strategic absence, getting out of an environment without saying goodbye verbally, but with a body language that says, "I know what I'm doing," creates a mental space where you are still present, even away. This is not magical. It's seduction psychology. It's what makes you unforgettable to her. When you learn to use the power of silence with intention, you get out of the common level, from the guys who talk too much, try hard, and end up being forgotten, and enters a territory where the woman begins to ask themselves, who is he really? Why is he so quiet? Is he interested in me, or was it just my impression? And that's where the game changes. This is the point where she begins to think of you without stopping, because silence, when used well, creates space for desire to grow. He does not deliver everything at once. He plants doubts, he instigates, he becomes irresistible. It's like a perfume she felt quickly, but she still seeks in the air, even after you left. And maybe you are wondering, but how do I put it into practice? How do I do this silent gesture without seeming disinterested, or worse, insecure? Stay with me, because now we will come in exactly this part: how to apply this gesture with mastery and make it feel your presence even when you are not around. And before showing you exactly how to apply this silent gesture with mastery, I want you to stop for a second and think, how many times have you delivered too much? How many times have you tried to draw attention with words, insistence, or exaggeration? And in the end, was it simply ignored? If you are tired of running after, always being the guy who strives too much and see no result, comments down now, "I'll change." Write this. It's not just a phrase, it's a commitment you make to yourself, a sign that you are ready to learn what really works in seduction, attraction, and especially in building a relationship that puts you in emotional control of the situation. Here, you will not learn cheap tricks. You will understand how the female mind reacts to subtle stimuli and how to use it to your advantage without having to force anything. It's about personal value, striking presence, and emotional mystery, all based on behaviors that really work. So if you want to keep getting content like this, already leave your like now. This helps YouTube to deliver this video to more men who, like you, want to master the art of attraction with intelligence and presence. And if you are not yet subscribed, you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because what comes next will put you in front of 95% of the guys who still think that sending a message every day is the best way to conquer someone. Now, the time has come for you to expect it the most. Let's go straight to the practical part, the exact silent gesture you can use today to get into her mind and not leave. Now, yes, let's get in what really matters. The silent gesture that creates presence. That's right, the silence that marks, the silence that speaks for you, that activates deep emotional triggers within the feminine mind and leaves an impression that it just doesn't come out. Forget the idea that you need to be always available, always sending a message, always saying something smart to maintain her interest. The truth is precisely the opposite. The psychology of attraction shows that what is not said, what is not revealed, has much more power than any well-rehearsed speech. This is pure reverse psychology. When you don't show need, when you don't run after, when you know how to get out of the scene at the right time, the impact is much stronger. And that's where the silent gesture comes in. A gesture itself, MPLs, but extremely powerful. It happens, for example, when you finish a date and leave without sending that standard message saying, "It was great to see you." He appears when you are talking to her, and in the middle of a laugh or a more intense look, simply stare at her for a second more, and then move away calmly. It is that moment when you leave her alone with your own thoughts, and that is just where you start to take up space in her mind. Do you want to know why this gesture is so effective? Because it activates curiosity. He does not deliver everything. He does not be pleaded for attention. On the contrary, it suggests value. A man who has control over his own energy, who knows the power of his own silence, conveys emotional authority. And this is exactly what many women miss. A man who is not desperate for validation, who knows how to come and go with posture, presence, with a slight air of mystery. And don't think it means being cold or indifferent. None of that. You are still educated, it remains you, but it starts to play with a rule that few know. You let it fill the spaces with thoughts about you. And she will fill, you can be sure, because when a man does not become predictable, when he is safe enough not to always be available, he becomes irresistibly interesting. After that meeting, after that exchange of glances, do not send a huge text. Don't go after the same day. Instead, give space. Turn away with peace of mind, like someone who is in control, as someone who knows what is worth. You will notice that it will often be the first to look for you. And even if you don't look immediately, she will be thinking of you, and this is the most important. The silent gesture consists of 3 fundamental elements. A striking look that demonstrates that you are there, whole, present, but not needy. A relaxed body language that shows safety and dominance of the situation. And finally, a light, natural, but with intention. It is not turning your back in a sudden way. It is simply leaving the scene with confidence, leaving the feeling of, "I want more" in the air. She will pass the moment on the head. You will wonder what you meant by that look. You will think why you haven't sent a message yet. You will wonder if you really interested you. And this sequence of thoughts is exactly what begins to create emotional attachment. Her brain begins to associate you with the mystery, the challenge, the absence that generates desire. And now I want to know about you. Have you tried to act this way before? Already applied this kind of silent gesture? Or is it still from the team that has, "Was it amazing to see you today 3 minutes after the meeting"? Tell me here in the comments if you will start applying the silence that creates presence. Right there, I'm a presence, or I will use silence with intention. Not only will this show me that you are committed to your evolution, but will also help this video reach other men who need to hear it now. And of course, if you haven't left your like yet, that's the moment. This makes all the difference for the channel to continue growing and to bring even more content like this, straight to the point and without winding. Now holds firm, because what comes next will tie everything we say here and will show you how to use this strategy in different situations with more depth and security. But look, let me tell you something very important now. Using this silent gesture with intention doesn't mean playing with someone's feelings. This is not a cheap manipulation, nor to apply cold techniques just to see if it will run after. The true strength of this gesture lies in authenticity, being a man who has control over his actions, his emotions, and who understands the value of his own silence. When you act with this awareness, the gesture is no longer a trick, and becomes a natural reflection of a guy who knows what he is doing. The big balcony here is learning to create mystery without looking emotionally distant. Mystery is not ignoring. It is not becoming inaccessible artificially. Mystery is about delivering slowly. It is about leaving room for her missing you, so she wants to find out more about you. The coldness, on the other hand, drives away. The mystery attracts. A cold man transmits block, lack of empathy, absence of connection. Already a mysterious man, when done in the right way, creates magnetism, that kind of presence that feels even when you are not around. So if you want this gesture to really work, you need to be emotionally aligned with the intention behind it. It is not about disappearing to make impact. It is about, with lightness, elegance, self-confidence. It's about showing that you have such an interesting internal world that you don't have to prove yourself all the time. This, yes, is what attracts. ISS. Yes, it is what arouses genuine curiosity. You are not playing with her, you are inviting you to play with you at your pace in your vibration. And here is an honest warning. If you use this gesture, be ready to deal with the emotional impact it will have. Yes, you will notice different behaviors. She can start looking for you more. You may want to know what you are thinking. You can start asking more direct, more intimate questions. And if you are not prepared to deal with this new kind of attention, you can get lost, overwhelming, running after again. And this nullifies all the magnetism you were building. This kind of energy you go through, of calm, mystery, control, creates an emotional tension that activates real attraction triggers. We're not talking about superficiality. We're talking about deep emotional dynamics that messes with what she feels, what she thinks, what she projects in you. And here comes something very powerful. The human being tends to value what he does not fully understand. When you do not surrender yourself right away, you create value. When you hold your words, your gestures, and deliver only the essentials, and yet with intention, you make her pay attention to every little detail of yours, and that's exactly where you become unforgettable. And now I want you to think, at some point in your life, have you had this stance? Have you acted so controlled, so safe, that the other person was visibly shaken by your absence? If you never lived, this is the time to start, to assume its value, to behave like someone who understands the psychology of seduction, emotional attraction, silent communication that turns a simple look into an irresistible invitation. And if this video is making sense to you, comment below with the word silence. So I will know that you are committed to this change and ready to use this strategy with maturity. It also takes the opportunity to comment if you have already lived a situation where you stayed in someone's mind even without saying anything. He writes something like, "I already felt this power in practice," or "I'm going to practice this silence with intention." Comment with truth, because it helps not only to strengthen the community here of the channel, but it also shows that you are truly involved in this process of transformation. Oh, and of course, enjoy this video now if you haven't enjoyed it yet. This makes all the difference for me to keep bringing this direct, practical content that really changes the game. And share with that friend who lives talking too much, explaining too much, playing too much, and in the end, always ends up being left aside. He needs to hear that. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it now and activate the bell. Because in the next video, I will show you how to use this same energy to make it take the initiative to come after you, even without you send any message. Seriously, what comes next will tie everything you are learning here and put you on another level of connection and emotional power.